And I want to start asking all of you just 2 questions. So I'm going to ask this at the beginning of our masterminds because I really want to start with just the excitement, obviously, of Beachbody, what we are doing. But I want to ask you, first of all, an experience that you or a coach of yours that has had good results so far with 2B Mindset. So if you'll unmute yourself, please, and just share an amazing moment that we've had so far with 2B Mindset. Anyway, yeah.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
First, I have to tell you guys something super exciting. This morning, I submitted my letter of resignation at my job. So I'm officially out of prison.
Literally.
So that was a huge thing for me this week. But as far as 2B Mindset goes, I don't even know where to begin. I have had so many people, as I'm sure you guys have, really gravitate towards this program because of the emotional side. And it's a lot of moms who are like, I love the portion fixed container system idea, but it was really hard for me to kind of stay on track with. And so as I learn about it too, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is so simple, but it's genius.
Mm-hmm.
The principles. Like I just watched the video on eating at like events and stuff and how she has the cycle of, if you want another piece of dessert or something, you just go through this cycle again. So that was really like a kind of an aha moment for me to where truly with this program, we're no longer saying like, I can't have this. It's I can, but I have to eat these other things first. Like how simple, but like truly powerful that is for a lot of people. Sorry. So that's just my little tidbit.
For sure. I love it. Let me spur on this. Has anybody had any of your coaches, and I'm calling them coaches because you probably signed them up as a coach so they could be in the group, but has any of them lost any weight so far? Because I'm hearing amazing, like 5 to 8 pounds within the first week. Have we had anybody go that far yet? 2. Okay. 2, like literally, and this is weight that most people haven't been able to lose in years or months. And so, I love this so much. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for that on 2B Mindset. Also tell me a success that you've had within your challenge group so far this past week. So this is for all y'alls. Please unmute yourself. The success that you've had so far in your challenge group this week. Teresa's getting ready to unmute. I feel it. No. No successes?
I feel like I'm going to talk a lot, so I don't want to like talk too much, but
do it.
Jessica, I went out of the room to grab water, but I heard about your job. Congratulations. That's so exciting. So happy for you. We actually just ended my last 21-day group on Sunday, but we actually had a lot of great successes, but one that I particularly loved is I had a girl who basically had a goal of going skydiving for her 30th birthday, and she has quite a bit of weight that she needs to get off in order to be able to, because they actually have like a weight limit on how much you can be. And she, for the first time, feels like she's actually getting somewhere. She lost 7 pounds in our last group, but for her that's huge because she has had this weight forever. And I'm actually talking to her about 2B Mindset today because I think that will actually help further her results. So that's it.
Ooh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Yay! Okay, should we get this party started and this call officially started? I think we should. Okay, as you all know, we have Alyssa here, and so excited. It's Alyssa, correct? I just want to, because all of us call her Alyssa, but it's Alyssa, so I have to physically think about that. So Alyssa, and she's going to, well, first of all, welcome to our 3-Star Diamond call. She's never been on our call before. As you know, I kind of spoke about it earlier in our chat thread, but she is a 3-Star Diamond Premier coach. Many of you have probably heard her story, especially because it was in one of the Super Saturday videos. And so you may feel this connection, and maybe it was a little bit ago, right? Was it 2 Super Saturday videos ago? 2 or 3?
It actually wasn't in the Super Saturday video. So I spoke at Super Saturday in Seattle, but I was in a summit video
That's what it was.
sessions last year.
That is what it is. So this may resonate. You might understand, be like, oh my gosh, this is her. It may just click. So needless to say, she has prepared a beautiful speech, conversation, chat with us about mindset and really how to get your coaches to see their ultimate why and vision. And so we were talking about this, and once she was telling me about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to share this with our 3-star diamonds. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to you, Alyssa, if you don't mind giving us just a little bit of backstory about yourself, and then just go into your topic at hand.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I feel really honored, honestly, when Brittany told me that she wanted me to speak. I was kind of like taken aback. I was like, really? You want me to share this? That's so sweet. So I'm really excited. I know that all of us, are crazy busy, because if you're a coach with Beachbody, you're probably just crazy busy, but we're doing such amazing things. So I wanted to thank you guys for taking time, first of all, out of your day where you're doing all these amazing things to actually come and have a talk with us. So this is good. I am going to get to more of my story. I kind of worked it into what I'm going to talk about. So we're just going to start. But I wanted to make sure that you guys did know that the point of this is to give you guys actual tools at the end of this that you will be able to take away and actually apply to your life and business. So if you don't have a pen and paper handy, try to grab one, because I do think that this will be helpful. We actually did this call for a couple teams in the network, and I got some really good feedback on it. So I think it's helpful because it's working for some other people too, and not just me. But I wanted to start off by basically talking about a quote that we all probably know very, very well. We might not love it. I didn't used to love it. But it's the quote by Henry Ford that says, "Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right." So we've all heard it so many times, right, that I feel like it gets repetitive, and it doesn't really kick us in the butt like it should. But it's funny because when I heard it so many times actually growing up, my dad used to say this all the time, and I didn't believe it for the longest time. And even 5 years ago, if any of you had come to me, or my dad or anyone had said, you can do anything you set your mind to, I would have totally scoffed in your face, maybe not in your face, maybe behind your back, but I would have thought that you were lying and that you were, full of like fake rainbows or something, and that you weren't telling the truth. And it's pretty funny because now this is one of my kind of life mantras, but I've changed the wording just a little bit. So Henry Ford said, if you can, or if you think you can or you can't, you're right. And that kind of tells us if you can do anything you set your mind to. I've changed it to you can do anything that you set your mindset to. So it makes it more of an action, because you actually, it's not just your mind, it's your mindset, and it's that action that you have to take to make it happen. So the greatest mindset shift of my life was actually one that I saw that needed to happen, but I almost didn't even tackle it. So about 5 years ago, my life completely flipped upside down. My 27-year-old husband and best friend passed away from cancer. And I was a mom to a 9-month-old daughter. So that is my first daughter, who is now 5. I basically became a widowed single mom at 26 years old. And I was certain at that time, that I would never be happy again. I was pretty dang certain, which happens when you lose somebody close to you. But it took me a long time. But eventually I decided that I wanted to start working toward a change in my life. I didn't fully adopt this whole mindset mantra just yet, but I knew that I was really sick of being depressed and that I needed to find a way out, not just for me, but for my little girl. And the story of how I got myself out of that whole mindset mess is actually kind of a long one. I had to actually start for me with my soul, and then that had to get in line before I could really tackle my body or my mind. And I'm actually writing a book on that whole journey. So if you guys are interested in the rest of that, you can definitely, feel free to message me or follow me on social media. But I wanted to share with you guys this morning kind of the same tools that I did apply to tackling that, and how I use those to now shift my mindset around my life and my coaching business. So I've been a Beachbody coach for 2 years. I actually signed up as a discount coach, which I know is common for a lot of us, because I had fallen in love with the shakes. I signed up at the very out of the gate. I actually signed up as a customer because even getting a discount, I was so certain I wouldn't love the shakes, even though I did all my research. I figured out how healthy they were, and then I was sure they wouldn't taste good. And then they're so healthy and they taste so good, I was completely hooked. So after 3 months of accountability groups with my coach, I finally decided that it was time to maybe start sharing this with other people. I decided to start actively running my groups and decided that if I even had three people join me each month, then I would be totally fine, because they really turned my body health around. Like I said before, I kind of tackled my soul health first, and then next came mindset and body, and Beachbody helped me kind of catapult myself forward through that. So the journey from kind of then, which was July of 2016, I guess, was when I ran my first group, to now, has definitely been crazy. It's been such a different experience than I thought it would be, but in all the best ways. And I honestly consider every single part of this, so the coaching opportunity, the coaching community, and my challengers, all of it really feels like a huge gift in my life. But I wanted to tell you guys that before I had any rank or any accolades, before I made even $1, I started focusing on the gift that this was, and I looked for the positives from the very beginning. So just like I had been practicing. So I wanted to kind of dive in. Now we're going to dive into some of the specifics and the nitty gritty of like, how do you actually change a negative mindset around something to a positive one? So I pretty much took some time, I guess it was about a week ago, to map out specifically, because I know I have this process that I do in my head, and I'm like, I need to actually get this down on paper so that other people can replicate this. And I've come up with like a really easy way that I think that you can remember how to turn your mindset around. So first, I'm going to start with a simple way to do that, and then I'm going to share like a few examples from my own life so you guys kind of understand where we're going with this. But the 3 R's to turn your thoughts from negative to positive. So there's 3 things. They all start with R. We're making it super simple. Alliterations. It's totally a thing, I guess. So number 1 is to recognize. You have to recognize that your negative thoughts are negative thoughts. You have to see them for what they are. So to do that, you have to start listening to the words that you're telling yourself. Start listening to the story that's on replay inside your head, because we recycle thoughts throughout the day so often, but often we aren't paying close attention to what those thoughts are. So you need to start thinking about what you're thinking, and start paying close attention, and you don't have to judge them like right away. Just notice them and acknowledge that they're there and that they might be holding you back. And then the second R, is reverse. So take your negative thoughts and flip them around. When you recognize a negative thought come into your mind, you want to think about what would the opposite of that negative thought be, and take your negative thought, think of that as the lie. It's a self-limiting belief, and it's a total lie. And then think of the positive opposite as truth. Number 3 is to repeat. So this is the 3rd R. You will not be able to change your mindset once and have it automatically happen going forward, as nice as that would be. You will have to keep practicing. So our mindsets are super fluid. As you guys know, they're not stagnant. So you're always going to have to work on this. Repeating over and over again, repeating these steps is going to be so, so important. And it's also very important that you guys focus on progress and not perfection, right? So don't beat yourself up over a negative thought. And remember that we're all humans. We all have to do this, you guys. I assure you, from Melanie Mitro all the way down, we all have to work to reframe our minds every single day. So I've been practicing this in different areas of my life and kind of in different ways for 5 years. And it's still hard work, but it's definitely worth it. And I always think about kind of what Autumn says in 21 Day Fix. You guys, that was my life savior program. So I always go back to it. But it's not that it gets any easier, right? You just get better at it. Just like she says, it doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. So mindset has worked for me. It's worked magic in my relationships, my finances, my business, in writing my book, and all sorts of other things. And as you guys practice this, you will get better at it, and you'll start to notice it. So those 3 things that I talked about: recognize, reverse, and repeat. like I said, I was able to use those steps to flip my negative mindset around in regards to losing my husband and some other major life traumas that I had. But I also have applied it to some less intense situations in my life. So these are some of the examples that I have. But I wanted to see if any of you guys, and this is great because I can see all of you. So raise your hand if any of these resonate with you. Have you ever felt like before starting a fitness program that there was no way you could finish it? Anyone? 80-day obsession? Anyone? Did you ever feel like it would be impossible to eat clean for a certain length of time? Maybe at the beginning, I don't know. I totally did. I still do. I'm like, can I really do it today? I'm not sure. Just kidding. And then what about adding a healthy habit to your day? If there's something you were trying to add to your day where you like, there's no way I can do that. There's no way I can get up at 5 a.m. or, eat a salad for lunch every day or whatever. Yeah. Okay. So obviously, like that's very common. I saw a lot of hands, especially at the beginning, that first one. We have some very challenging programs, you guys. It's good. I know for me, right, I'd have to raise both my hands, honestly, on every single one of those. So when I joined my first challenge group, I was very skeptical about being able to even work out for 21 days straight. I had played soccer in college, but that felt like a lifetime ago. And even in Division II soccer, they don't actually have you work out 7 days a week. You normally have a rest day. We had 3 days in the summer, but it only lasted for 2 weeks. It didn't go for 3. So I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And at the time when I started my first 21-day group, I was battling an autoimmune disease that I actually started getting right after my freshman year of college, and it had kind of ruined my soccer career. So I was fighting constant fatigue, and I was almost 100% positive that these challenge groups would not work for me. I was convinced, that after my diagnosis and after all the things I'd been through, that I just wasn't strong enough to get through. And so my mindset, like I said, it was like super negative. And when I finally mustered up the courage just long enough to actually reach out to my coach and ask her if I could join her group, I was so glad that I did, because I found out after my second round, which you guys, I failed my first round of 21 Day Fix. I got super sick like one weekend. Might have had to do with my mindset, I'm not really sure, but got super sick one weekend, and I had to try again. And that's another thing that I want you guys to keep in mind. Even when you're working on a positive mindset, you're going to have to try again at these things that you're trying to shift your mindset around in. So even with the business, if you have a negative mindset about the business or about how far you can go, you might change your mindset once and you feel on top of the world, and the next day you're going to feel so down. But you have to remember to pick yourself back up and just start back at square one. So with my second 21 Day Fix, I replaced the mantra that had been going through my head the first time, which was, I can't do this, basically on every single exercise, with Autumn's, you can do anything for 60 seconds. And I decided I was bound and determined to just go 1 minute at a time. So another example of something in my life, which I'll just kind of shift gears, but this mindset was so huge for me in this area. And I know we don't typically talk a lot about relationships or dating or anything on these kind of calls, but this was such a big shift that I have to share it with you guys. So I was widowed, like you guys know, by my first husband when my daughter was 9 months old, and obviously completely heartbroken at first. And for a long while, I obviously wasn't thinking at all about dating or anything like that. But at 26, I was basically absolutely positive that I would be a single mom for the rest of my life. And I actually spent a ton of time picturing it, which is kind of weird, but I literally would picture myself as like a lonely old lady in a rocking chair. And I would legit picture the chair, like this is kind of weird, but I would picture the chair, and I would picture the fact that like nobody wanted to hang out with me because I was like old and crotchety and depressed. And so it's really funny because now that I know so much, you guys, about visualization, it cracks me up because I was doing it so opposite, and now I have like a whole wall over here of all like positive, my visualizations. I don't picture that lonely old lady anymore. I'm like an old lady in like a wheelchair, like rocking my workouts and like loving on everyone around me. It's gonna be real fun. But anyway, at the time I held a very negative mindset about my personal life, right? So it took me a long while to even recognize that. At the time, like, so many times that we have negative mindsets around things, we do not realize it. And that's why you have to be on top of your game when you're listening to your thoughts. But eventually I started to pay attention, and I heard what was going on in my head. And I kept saying things like, I will never date again. Nobody's going to measure up. Getting married twice wasn't what I signed up for. Like literally I married till I thought 50 plus years till death do us part, and it was 5. So I was like, this is not really how this is supposed to be. But eventually I decided that I wanted to reframe my mindset around dating. I literally just decided, you know what? I don't really want to be single for the rest of my life, so I'm going to start thinking about this differently. I started purposefully changing my negative thought patterns and believing that there might be, and it just started with might for me, but that there might be a perfect second chapter out there for my daughter and I. So literally, I know it was with God's help and my mindset, but I was led to eventually begin a relationship with an incredible guy. And after working with a straight up therapist, which that's like my real talk for today, I'll admit to you guys, I had to start visualizing a totally different future for myself as far as my relationships go. And eventually I was able to get remarried. And now, so Jay and I have been married for almost 2 years. He actually legally adopted Austin a few months after our wedding. So she now has 2 daddies. And then we actually just had a baby together. So we have a 7-week-old. She's 7 weeks today, actually, which is crazy. So, but do you think, like, this is what blows my mind is I don't think I would have ever been able to get remarried. I definitely would not have my sweet little girl, Emery, if I had continued to believe that I couldn't, shouldn't, or wouldn't date again, right? There's no way. If I kept telling myself those stories, there's absolutely no way I would have started dating. So let me give you an example now. Sorry, I keep switching gears really fast. But let me give you another example. This one's from my coaching business. So when I first became a coach, and some of you might be able to relate to this, but basically so like I said, I started coaching out for the discount, right? And once I realized that my coach got paid to run these fun challenge groups, because at first I honestly, I didn't realize, like I thought it was like community service or something. But once I realized she got paid, I was like, okay, that's really cool, but there's no way I could do that. Like absolutely no way. And I told myself over and over again that I wasn't cut out for something like this, that nobody would join me, that I didn't have any reason people would listen to me, and decided that number 1, too, this is a big one. I decided that it probably wasn't as much fun to be a coach as my coach made it look. Okay. Which cracks me up now because this is the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. Like, it's so funny, but it's a mindset thing. So it's funny. So for 3 months, I sat on the sidelines and I listened to these negative thoughts, and I kept like literally creeping on my coach's pictures, and like they went on the Success Club. I think it was a cruise or something. Yeah, I think they went on the cruise. And so I was creeping on their like cruise pictures, and I was like, oh my gosh, like they're faking it. They have to be like, those look like real smiles, but no, there's no way they're having fun. And I kept convincing myself it was all wrong, like that I was wrong for the job. And eventually, again, I got super sick of my own BS, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to admit to myself right now, I do actually want to be a coach. That took like one step of bravery. And then the next step of bravery was admitting to my coach that I wanted to be a coach and that I had no clue like where to start. And that's what's awesome about this, right? There's always somebody that you can reach out to, you can be completely honest with, and they're going to give you the tools, even when you have no clue what you're doing, which happens to, I don't know, me on a weekly basis. There's always somebody you can reach out to, and they're going to help you gain those resources to move forward. But she helped show me how I could become Emerald. When she first talked to me about Emerald, I wasn't sure that I could do it. Again, that doubt crept back in, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. But one day I basically decided, no, I'm done saying that. I am going to go Emerald. I'm going Emerald this week. And later that week, I went Emerald. So the same thing happened with Diamond, you guys. I told myself I didn't deserve it. I had all these negative mindsets. And then one day I said, no, I can do this. I was made for hard things. I was made to be brave, which is where my team name came up. It's Made for Brave. But I was like, I was made for these hard things, I'm going to do this. And every time I had a negative thought pop in my head on that journey to diamond, which happened a ton in that journey for sure, I would replace it with, I can do hard things. I was made for this. I was made for brave. And then the same thing happened when I went 1-star, you guys. The same thing happened when I went 2-star and when I went 3-star. And again, it didn't get easier, but I did get better at it. I got better at recognizing my negative thoughts for what they were earlier on. And it happened with Premier too. So every single time I have found that a can-do mindset mixed with a will-do-done work ethic can take you crazy places. So will-do-done, meaning that when you say you will, you actually get it done. That is huge. And I wonder sometimes if I had listened to that loud negative inner voice at the beginning of my journey, right? If I let it stop me from being open to dating or from doing 21-day fix or from being brave enough to even start my coaching business, right? None of these things would have happened. I guess the life I'm living now, right? It wouldn't be possible. So every single step of my journey, I've had to banish negative thoughts. And I wanted to kind of tell you guys another example. I'm just super leveling with you guys. So you all see, which I mean, I know we're all 3-star, 4-star, right? So we're all here. So I know you guys can level with me anyway, but it's like, even just last week, like I had a super busy week with both of my kids. And at the same time, I had this crazy thing happen with my book that I wasn't expecting. I was hosting this call for the first time last week for a huge, it was an 8,000 plus downline. And I was so nervous, and I'm trying to create this call. I'm trying to do all these things. And I heard myself saying, there's no way I can do this. I kept saying it in my head. I kept saying, there's no way I can do this. I can't pull this together. There's too much. And then I said it out loud to my husband. That helped me realize. And I'm like, okay, I need to start over. And I replaced the I can't do this with I can do this. And I kept repeating it. Every time I wanted to say I can't, I would say, I can do this. I can do this. We can do this. I would put emphasis on different words. And I would say it a million different ways, but I said it over and over and over again. So we were pushing, I forgot to mention this part, we were pushing for the goal of team leader in my husband's account all at the same time, you guys. So this was like literally on Monday. My talk was on Wednesday. The end of the week is Wednesday night, all that stuff. So we're pushing for team leader. And we were farther away than I was comfortable with on Wednesday. But then we ended up reaching our goal just an hour before the cutoff, which is so crazy. But every single good thing, you guys, in my life, anything that's good that's happened to me, I truly believe has been made possible in part because of my positive mindset. And if I hadn't had, and changing my negative mindset to my positive mindset, because again, it's not just like a set thing, but I firmly believe that without that mindset, none of this would have happened. So this is a fun little assignment at the end, you guys. I don't know, I'm just going to share it with you because everybody in the other call, a few of them actually started their own mindset journals, and they said it was actually very helpful for them this last week. So I'm going to share this, but basically I started a mindset journal about a year ago, and it was something that I don't even know that I actually read about it anywhere, but I felt, again, like I was noticing all these negative thoughts popping up, and I'm like, I need to start writing this stuff down. I need to start keeping track of this stuff. So here are a couple of things, a couple ideas of what you can put in your mindset journal and things that I put in mine. But the first thing I did with mine at the beginning was I wrote down examples from my life that I could draw on where I'd achieved things that I didn't think would be possible, right? So I wanted to make sure that I never forgot how wrong I had been in the past. So I wrote down everything from my parents got divorced when I was 19, and I was convinced I would never be friends with my dad again, and didn't talk to him for 3 years. And then eventually we rectified that relationship, and now he's my best friend again. So I wrote down that all the way to thinking I couldn't date and then being able to date again, all the way, every single thing. You write down anything you can think of. It doesn't have to be business related. It could be you didn't think you were gonna, be able to buy a house, or you didn't think that you'd be able to raise kids, or I don't know, get a job that you wanted, right? Write down any of those examples. The second thing is to insert incredible quotes. Gather some good quotes about mindset and how it can change your life, and then make sure you review them often, but put those in your journal. The one you can start with, obviously, is if you think you can or you can't, you are right. That's a good one. I put that at the beginning of mine. And then using the 3 R's. So this one is the one that for me was, again, it was life-changing to do these things, but it was also so helpful to write them down. It actually brought it up a notch. So write down the negative thoughts that pop into your head as they come up kind of on the one side of your page. So if you write it on like the first side, and then write your positive thought on the, so write your negative thought on the left side, your positive thought on the right side. And then when you flip through your book, what's cool is as you're reviewing your positive thoughts every day, if you want to do this, you can just look at the right-hand side of your book, and you're going to see all the opposites of the negative things you've thought in the past. So like I said, I kind of started doing this a year ago. It was in May of 2017, so now it's been a year. So May of 2017, 1 year ago, and every time I was consistent with it, I saw my relationships blossom and my business grow. Like honestly, like I said, articulating these things down on paper, it helps you to identify them, and then it honestly helps you to offload them. I don't know if you guys know this, but like doing brain dumps whenever you feel like you're overwhelmed, writing stuff down helps your brain clear. So clear up that space in your mind, write down that negative thought so that it makes room for the positive thought, and then use that positive thought on the right-hand side of the page, use that as truth, right? See, the left-hand side is a lie, the right-hand side is truth. So some of my examples I wanted to give you guys, and I didn't review these until I was preparing for the call. I didn't realize how like crazy opposite these are. So listen to this. On May 24th last year, I wrote, I will never be able to have another baby. I had 2 miscarriages in the past. Both my babies are rainbow babies. So I had a miscarriage, and I was like, kept telling myself, I won't be able to have another kid. And I heard myself say it one day, and I was like, why is my brain doing this to me? So I wrote it down, and I'm like, no, not true. Okay. So I wrote down the opposite. This is where, so you recognize it, you reverse it, and then you repeat it. So the reverse of that is I will have the blessing of having another child to care for and watch grow. Super crazy. I got pregnant 2 months later with my daughter. So weird. And it doesn't always happen like this, just so you guys know. It doesn't always happen like this. This isn't guaranteed. I'm giving you guys the good examples, but this increases your likelihood of success, let me tell you. So another one that I have written down, and this was in May of last year, I won't be comfortable in my bathing suit. I won't ever be comfortable in my bathing suit. So the truth I wrote down is I can be comfortable and confident in anything that I wear. And then, funny story, when I was 8 months pregnant with my daughter, I literally went to Hawaii with my husband. And in the past, you guys, I felt uncomfortable, even though like looking back, I'm like, I don't know why I felt uncomfortable, but we all have these like self hangups, right? And these little things we pick apart about ourselves. And I went to Hawaii with Jay and Austin, my eldest daughter, 8 months pregnant. And I was walking around the beach, like literally in my bathing suit with like veins like all over my stomach and my belly button like pooching out and like literally looking like my stomach was gonna explode. And I did not think about how I looked like the whole time. It was so cool. But that had I clicked in my head that day. I was like, this is crazy. It was so awesome. Because I didn't used to think, you guys, that I would feel comfortable in that ever. So the third thing that I think is just kind of funny is on May 22nd of 2017, I wrote, I will never be a coach that's able to be in a training video helping other coaches, which is funny because I love helping people. That is like my favorite thing. But I wrote down the opposite at the time, and I said, I have something of value to offer others, even if I can't see it right now. And what's funny is since that date, right, like I said, all of a sudden, all these things, which I kept repeating this stuff to myself, right, that I had something of value to offer. Everything has basically, so since that time, I was asked, like we said, to speak on a video for Summit. I spoke at Super Saturday. I spoke on the Beachbody podcast. And then I've been asked, this is like the 5th call I think that I've like hosted to help other coaches. But how weird is that? I don't know, blows my mind. I just don't even understand. But I thought it was pretty incredible to look back on these things. And I guess I wanted to tell you guys that, like, even if you don't think you want to start like a whole journal about this, or you don't want to think about it every single day or whatever, just maybe take some time after this call today, write down whatever self-limiting beliefs have been going through your head. Write down their opposites, and even if you do this just on 2 separate pieces of paper, write down the opposites, and then take that separate piece of paper and like pin it up above your desk and start repeating those opposites like every single day. And then the positives, right? The truths, and then take the lies and tuck them away somewhere, and then put it on your calendar a year from now to go back and read what the negative side of that was, because sometimes like it can be pretty insane and pretty eye-opening to look at what that can do for you. So I have one more business tip. Did you guys, I have a question, because this won't be helpful if we've all read this, but have you guys read this book yet? Anyone? Brittany? Yes. Okay. So I'm going to share this. So this is actually, I got the idea from Brendan, and I don't even remember. You guys, it might be completely his idea, but I don't really remember. But I know that it sparked this. So basically, every time, this is just like a side tip on mindset. So every time that you are getting ready to do something that you dread, think of how you want to feel instead. So this is something that has helped me ever since I read the book. I'm like, this is so helpful, because let me find, I like skipped over that part. Here it goes. Okay. So say you have like a, I don't know, a big like test coming up. This would be like a life example. So you have a big test coming up and you're like dreading the time that it's going to take to study. Like you're like not excited about it. You don't want to sit down and like read the book over and over again. But you need to think about, basically, instead of thinking about how much you dread it, start thinking about how you would want to feel while you're studying. And like for me, normally when I study, I get really tired and bored, and I feel sometimes really dumb. And I'm like, I would want to feel the opposite, right? I would want to feel awake. I would want to feel excited and prepared, and I'd want to feel like a genius, right? So if I go into studying for that test and you start thinking about the way you want to feel, it sounds really simple, but I swear to you, it actually works. And you start to feel the way that you wanted to feel if you're thinking about it that way. So a business example would be like if you dread inviting people to challenge groups, which I know a lot of coaches do, because maybe you're going to fear like what they think about you or fear what your motivation is. Before you invite, start thinking about how you prefer to feel while you do it, right? So think about, for me, right, when I invite, I want to feel like overwhelming gratitude. I want to feel super helpful to other people and like ridiculously happy that this is my job and that I get to pay this forward. So if I think about how I want to feel, and then even if too, on the flip side of that, you can think about how you want the person that you're inviting to feel, which is pretty much the same. I want them to think and feel that they're thankful for the invite, that they're helped and that they're cared for, and so happy that I wanted to pay it forward, so happy that this is my job because they're getting something, that's of value for them. So that's how you end up feeling. And I've practiced this time and time again, and it totally works. So try that. So to kind of sum it up, you guys, I found for me, and again, we're seeing this throughout our team, that this is so true for so many others, but when I'm focused on having a positive mindset, those are the times when I look back and I see that my business is growing. And on the flip side, every single time I've seen a dip in my business, at the time, I always try to blame it on outside factors. I try to blame it on all this other stuff, and I don't think about mindset at all. But in hindsight, in the future, when I look back on when that dip was in my life, I can always draw a parallel between a negative mindset and a dip in my business. So what I've concluded is that you can always choose whether or not you want to harness the magic of mindset in your life or in your business, and that nobody else can choose it for you. So you can watch a million motivational videos. You can have like a personal cheerleader in the form of your kids or your husband telling you, think positive, mom, like do this, the positive way, and it won't change unless you actually decide that it's going to change. So I know that mindset is truly the only thing that can hold you back in this business, but I also know that it's the main thing that can propel you forward. And that's like that's the summary of it all. That's all I got.
That was awesome. I loved it. I know. Real quick, I want to ask if there's any questions. Do we have any questions for Miss Alyssa? Please unmute yourself. If you do,
I just wanted to say thank you because that was amazing.
Aw, you're welcome. Thank you for
That was
listening.
really, really awesome, and I can't wait to read your book.
Oh, yay. Thank you. That's so sweet. Yeah, no, you guys, I'm so happy to share as long as it's helpful. So
for sure. So let me ask you this question, because I see what you do with your business and how successful you have been. But let me ask you, on average, so all of us can hear this, on average, how many SC points do you get per month?
Oh, geez. So it keeps changing since I've had my second little. So since my second little, I'm like 30 SC points a month. And prior to that, I was hitting more like 45.
Okay.
Well,
how
46.
How many coaches do you recruit per month?
Oh my gosh. So I'm on track. Actually, this month I've recruited 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far. And it's the 9th, but I'm on a roll this month. I don't know. I'm trying for 5 to 10.
Love it. Love it.
I'm kicking it up notch this month.
And I know, based on our conversations, typically half of your coaches that you do sign end up being working coaches, correct?
Yeah.
Awesome. And how many coaches on average are hitting Success Club that do count towards Elite? 2017, 2018.
Yes. So I am shooting for 5, but I've been hitting about 4 that are hitting SC. Yeah, that are 2017 or 18.
Awesome. So very solid. So I just wanted her to be able to share with you kind of what she does within our business. And the beautiful thing is she knows her numbers. She knows what, propels her business forward. So with that being said, and you ladies now, because I think Justin did pop off, so I can say ladies. Okay. My question for you is, do you have any questions when it comes to business? Obviously, this mindset is huge, and I will get you the recording. Please share this with your teams. It made me literally, I wrote down Target mindset journal. Like now I'm like, I have to go buy a cute mindset journal, because that just gives me a reason to buy another cute little journal. But I loved that. But do you have any questions? Knowing the business content, knowing obviously, you've turned your mess into a message, which is, I think, the most beautiful thing. And you really can be so relatable to anybody that's going through hardship. And so it's so beautiful. But I want to ask, do any of you have any questions, business-wise, mindset-wise? Jessica Lanier, go ahead, hon.
Okay. So with your working coaches, usually for you, are they brand new into the company, into the business, or usually your working coaches previous customers?
Oh, sorry, I was muted. So pretty much I normally invite people in. So I'm switching how I do this. So let me tell you guys what's working for me. I'm just going to be this is what's working now. What's working now. So prior, I would sign up everybody as customer first, and then convert them to a discount coach when they told me they wanted to do another group, and then talk to them about building the business. Now what I'm recognizing is anyone, which I do attract people from kind of all levels of life. So there's certain people that join my challenge groups that I'm like, they would be an awesome coach. And then there's some people that I'm like, okay, they're probably not like coaching material. So the people who aren't really coaching material, I'm still signing them up as customers right out of the gate. And I may or may not offer them the discount, but most of the time they're just going to stay customers. But the people that join my challenge groups that I I'll stalk their Instagram, stalk their Facebook profile and like read their stuff. And as I'm conversing with them, if they're very personable and I'm just loving them, I am going to sign them up as a discount coach right out of the gate. So I basically give them an option and I say, you can basically sign up right now as a member, or I say you can either sign up as a customer or you can sign up as a member. And a member is basically just a coaching account. You get a discount, but there's no coaching required. And it's just going to ensure that you get a discount in the future if you decide to continue with us. So I just need to know, it's a different link either way. So I just need to know, totally up to you, but whether you want to pay wholesale or if you want to pay retail. And 100% of the time they pick wholesale, because who wants to pay retail? Nobody. So that's typically how I get them started. And then I introduce them to our team page, and I don't overwhelm them with like a big welcome email or anything like that, because they haven't started a challenge group yet. But I just let them start to see the things that go on in our group. So we try to have in our team page. So we try to have a super positive and fun community there. And we do like giveaways, and we do, shout outs, and we do just like fun little, like, share with us your favorite shake recipe, share with us, your before and after, or just like all kinds of fun stuff. Share with us, like, do a workout with your kid today and like video it and show us that. So they get to kind of experience the community, and I actually end up with a lot of, I kind of call them accidental builders, but obviously I'm adding them to the team page for a reason. But there are people that kind of all of a sudden, again, realize that we're making money and we're having fun. And they come along, maybe sometimes even before the challenge group starts, but sometimes a few weeks into the challenge group, and they just say like, hey, like, I've noticed there's a ton of coaches like on your team. Like, is that something that I could actually do? And then I have a separate page where I put my builders. So anyone who's Emerald or up goes in a separate like builders community. But in my like base team page, that's just like our whole downline, and includes discount coaches. We just hit 300 coaches on our team this week, which is crazy. Yeah. But most of them are discount coaches. But a lot of them, again, they come around. Like, that's the really cool part. I hope that answered the question.
I think it totally did. Jess, do you have anything else you want to say?
Absolutely.
Nope. Thumbs up. Awesome. Who else wants to ask any questions?
I was going to ask, you already answered my question, really, and it was regarding the journal, because I was going to ask how, what kind of affirmations you do and everything like that. But I'm going to go get a journal, because this is what I'm really struggling with. Okay. And I think that's going to be super helpful for me. And thank you so much for sharing your story. That's
of course.
helpful.
I'm so glad. Yeah. Get one that makes you happy.
Yeah.
Journal that looks happy. And then, yeah, no, it's definitely helped me so much. So I'm really glad to share. Thank you.
I like your feedback of going back and looking back a year past, because this is kind of comical to me. I'm sure we've all done this, but back in high school, you wrote a letter to yourself and you said, okay, open it up in 10 years, right? Well, I opened mine up like 15 years, and I literally had to laugh out loud how, like, I was like, like my high school sweetheart, I'm like, and I'm going to be with him, and I'm going to change him. And I'm like, who was I? Needless to say, I'm not with my high school sweetheart, but it was just, I literally had to like take a picture and be like, what? Like, I have grown and progressed so much. So it's so fun to look back on it. So I love that. Look back at it in a year and see what has manifested within that year. It's really cool.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome.
I think, did Stacy have a question? I think I saw her hand. Hey-o.
Oh,
okay. Sorry. Had to unmute.
That's okay.
Okay. Hey, girly, Seattle girl in the house. I love it. Thank you so much for jumping on today. Love your story. And I've actually been speaking to my challengers and my coaches more on like, we're made for brave. Like, I've been totally stealing your tagline, because I'm like, when you send those before photos to me, you are so brave and you are so beautiful. And I just edify them a ton. So thank you for being my inspiration for that. Also really quick, how often, because I know you put them in your team community, but how often do you like jump into your challenge group and go live, or like mention coaching just in your challenge group? Because I haven't been signing as many discount coaches lately. I've kind of been playing with it and seeing what's been working best. But do you do that, and what does that look like?
Yeah.
Or just kind of fill me in on anything you can think of there.
Yeah. So it's funny because I've had a shift in the last, and Brittany can attest to this, in the last like 2 months, where I realized I actually didn't talk about the coaching opportunity near enough in my posts, in my challenge groups, even with people. Like, I would recognize people as being good potential coaches, and I would either one, chicken out, or two, just completely forget, because I do have those high numbers. I have to be very like organized with actually getting back to people, or not getting back to people, but like recognizing and like making mental note of like, I need to follow up with this person about being a coach because she would be amazing. But what I started doing in the last, so this is only 2 rounds, but I can tell you that so far it seems like it's working really well, is I have started, so every challenge group, and I've done this for quite a while, at the very beginning and at the very end, I will go live, and like at the beginning I'm explaining like what you're committing to in the challenge group, kind of why, like explaining to them how to find their why to pull from motivation as we go through the next 21 days. My groups are normally just 21 days long. And then I've now started including tidbits. So I don't have anything in my challenge group where I like go on and I'm just like, you should be a coach, or this is how you coach, or how to become a coach. But I include little like hints about like how grateful I am that this is what my husband and I do now full time, or how this has changed my life, and like I got to talk to these other coaches today, like about I don't know, like I'll put in like little tidbits about coaching wherever I can. Breadcrumbs, that's exactly the word. So I breadcrumb it, and I don't spend that much time like in advance thinking about it. It's just kind of as I'm talking, anytime I can think about it. I've also started, which this has been actually like a side product that I didn't realize would happen, but I've started posting more on my Instagram stories with like Energize and Shakeology, but I do the curiosity marketing thing still, so I'm not like showing that it's Shakeology or showing that it's Energize, but I will, make my Energize in the morning and I'm like stirring it up while I'm talking or something, right? And it's like this bright yellow drink that's always in my pictures, or I'm always drinking my, shake and just being, well, I don't drink it actually on camera because it makes my teeth like brown, it's a bad idea, but I will like have it in the background or something. And I found that what that's doing, so it's doing two things. Like one, I'm getting a lot more interest on my Instagram stories. I'm getting a lot of people just asking questions. But the other thing that it's doing is I have a lot of my coaches, which I'm sure is the same for you guys. A lot of your challengers and discount coaches are following you guys on social media, and you have like an inside track to almost like advertising to them every single day. So even though I was already drinking my shake every day, I was drinking Energize every day, I was doing my workout every day, for the longest time I didn't actually show those things, and I would just kind of say that I was doing it or whatever. But as they started seeing it, like my entire downline, my volume has gone up so much in the last like couple months since I've started doing this, because they're asking me all the time, like, there's a pre-workout, like what are you drinking? What is that? And then I'm getting people set up with, beach bars, and even Tubi Mindset I've had in the background of some of my things where I'm like, oh yeah, I was just talking to my nutritionist, like that lady up there. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you guys about, like I made my daughter a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like, and I don't like make it all about that, but I like breadcrumb it in my stories. And then I've actually gone live on Instagram a few times talking about the coaching opportunity, just at times when, again, and this is what works for me, but when I feel overwhelming gratitude, instead of at like a scheduled time, because I have a business account, so when people are going to be on Instagram, but instead of trying to pre-plan it, if I feel overwhelming gratitude that day for being a coach, I will go live for like 5 to 10 minutes in my Instagram, and I don't even like filter it anymore. I just gush about what we do. I don't actually still say Beachbody, but I just gush about like what we do. And then I get all these people asking about that too. And again, a lot of challengers / discount coaches that are like, I didn't realize that this was bigger than our like 21 people, or that this was bigger than our 300 people. And then they start asking more and more questions about the business, if that makes sense. And I breadcrumb it, like I said, at the end of my, challenge groups too. So at the beginning and at the end, I go live. And at the end, I'm just like congratulating them, telling them to submit their before and afters to Beachbody, and then basically telling them like how lucky I am to partner with such an incredible company. And then that's about it.
Ooh, that was good.
It was a lot. I feel like I'm talking around the question, but I think I answered it too. Like
You totally did. Okay, we have time for one more question, if any of you have it. Ashley, you have been so quiet. You are not a quiet girl. You're like me. Girl.
I'm just soaking it all in. It's so good. So good.
Good. Okay, sorry to call you out.
That's funny.
Okay, so is there anything else, Alyssa, before we jump off, that you would just like to wrap it up, or anything left to say?
No, I mean, I think it's really cool that I got to talk with a bunch of people who are kind of in the same place. Like I think it's, this is, to be like honest, this is kind of a tough spot to be, I think, as a coach, because we're kind of right in that threshold where it's like, probably most of us have like a spouse's account that's diamond, and we're kind of just like, can I really help other people? Can I really help other people build their business to the place that I am, or help them get kind of the fulfillment that I get out of it too? And I think that it's so cool because I really believe that I and that all of you have the ability to, again, just set that mindset and breathe that mindset out, like literally just spread it out across our teams and just show them that they're in charge of where their business goes too, right? So I'm really focused on, as I'm sure you guys are, on finding the people who want to build to diamond and then really trying to help them shift their mindsets, because I truly believe, you guys, it's so crazy how big mindset is. So I don't know, I'm excited for all of us because I think we all have, such incredible potential and it's exciting. So, and if you guys see me at Summit, say hi. That'd be fun.
Amen. I love that. I love you getting real with us. Thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to get this recording. But thank you for speaking from your heart and really just, so many great takeaways, but I love the actual items of what you can do today to really get started. So in a year, we'll be messaging you and be like, holy crap, we did it for a year.
Oh, please do. That would be great.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it? Yeah. But thank you for your time. Thank you, ladies, for jumping on. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday, and I'll see you all soon, okay?
Yay.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.